alcoholic addict.
Welcome to Recovering Addict. I'm LT, your host, and I'm an alcoholic addict.
I'm Felice, your co-host, married to an alcoholic addict, here for any questions you might have about living with one.
That's the darn truth right there. And if this is your first time catching it, you can just know that 2 times in my life I've hit rock bottom due to drugs and alcohol. In the early 2000s and in my early 20s, I was a tweaking meth addict tweaker. I didn't do it for very long, just long enough to commit a felony and almost go to prison for 15 years. But I was locked up for a year, went to a halfway house, 3 years of probation. And the day I got off probation, I started smoking weed. Why? Because I'm an alcoholic and an addict. And then I quit smoking weed because I needed a job and they drug test. And weed's illegal. And guess what? I was clean and sober for 5 years. But what I did not do was understand anything about alcohol addiction and drug addiction or any of that stuff. I didn't work a program. I was only clean and abstinence because of consequences of drugs and alcohol. So in my early 30s, I started drinking casually on weekends and parties and barbecues and birthdays. And that slowly got worse and worse and worse and worse. My son was in an accident in 2017. And after that, I became a full-on fifth a night, gallons on the weekend, blackout drunk, ruining everything around me. My house, my home, my wife, my kids, my work, my reputation, everything. I had to check myself into a detox center 4 days there. And then I was in an intense outpatient program for 5 months. And now I ain't looking back. I'm still working the steps. I still go to aftercare program once a week on Tuesday nights. And I'm doing everything and anything I can to give back because that's all I've done my whole life is take. But so not no more. It's all about recovery and loving people in recovery. Look at us as a bridge to a community to find strength and hope for your anything, any type of addiction. Even if you're not addicted and you're just looking for a loving, caring community that's going to accept you and help you through life on life's terms, we're all here for that as well. I'm going to let Felice say what up to everybody in the chat, and I'll let you all know what's going on.
Yeah, let me start from the top. We got Sunray.
What's up,
Always
son?
Good to see you, son. Cherie, hello, fam. Sweet. You got this. Dwight. Hey, haven't seen you in a few days, Dwight. Glad you're here.
Hey, brother.
Misty, 1 year. Whoop, whoop,
Misty,
whoop.
did you want to jump on here tonight and tell us how you did it? Alicia's going to jump on. First thing I'm going to do is read the introduction to this book. We're going to read our AA thought of the day, and then we're going to get into Alicia's how she did 17 years. And I would love to have you on, Misty, so you say yes, and I'll send the link.
Hey, Derek. Hey, Corey.
What's up, Corey? How you doing, brother?
Rahima, you're new.
Hey, that's a new
This
face
is
in
my
town.
first time watching this podcast. It is so nice to join all of you. I am new to recovery, so I am very excited to be a part of this.
Welcome.
Welcome. We're excited to have you here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Get to know everybody in the chat because we're a strong community. Like I said, look at us as a bridge to a community that's here to support us. On this channel, what you can expect is my experience of alcohol and drug addiction. Felice's experience of having to live with an alcohol and an addict like me. And what we do is we want to educate ourselves. So we go through literature, we go through books from smart doctor people. This is the 4th book we're starting. We're going to read the introduction to it tonight. It's called Addictive Personality, but we've gone through 3 different books. We may just go right back through those books. They were so valuable because if we stop learning and we stagnate, relapse is very possible. And our physical body may stop growing 18, 25 years old, right? But our mind should never stop growing. And that's what we're here to do.
True. So everybody in the chat, give Rahima a nice warm welcome.
Welcome.
Tell her hi.
Round of applause to the
Michael
newcomer.
Teeter. Love Teeter. Lisha, congratulations today.
She's going to be on here soon.
Hear all about it. Hello, Mo.
Hi, Mo.
I said hi to you already, but hello. And we've got, Peter's counting down.
Watch for Misty. I want to see if she says yes or no.
I will look. Amber, welcome. Nikki, go LT, go.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey,
What's up, girl?
If y'all haven't yet, check out Nicole from Real Talk Recovery on YouTube. Amazing channel. And we've got Merck in the house.
Man, the myth, and the legend.
Jolie, hello. She says hello. I haven't seen an answer yet. Hey, Soupy.
What
glad
up,
you're here.
Soup? How you
How's
doing,
the
brother?
elliptical going? I see you have 15 minutes left. About 5
Get
minutes
it.
ago.
Ramp it up. Get your heart rate up to 180 in those last few minutes, brother. Get it.
Bryson, glad you're here. Here we got Kyle.
Hey, what's up, Kyle? How you doing, brother?
Lisa, hello. Yes, that is Batlinks back there.
Mine too.
Famous. She said can't tonight. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no worries. Just an offer.
What up, Bob? What up?
How you doing, Enoch?
Hey, Lisa. Hi, Sky.
Sky, how
Hey,
are
cousin.
you?
This is my cousin Joseph.
Hey, Joe.
Awesome. He's in
Joe.
recovery too. He's got quite a few years under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany, let me see who my Facebook user is. Krista.
Andrew on the Discord needs a link for the live. Stand
Hello.
by.
Can't wait to share your story.
If you look in the channels, there's the YouTube channel, and it's always in there. Covering Addict Live right there. I'm going to put a little thing live right now. Andrew? Okay, maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll help. Where's my secret favorite item? Yeah, where's Polly?
Where Polly been? Hey, Christine. Oh, 18 months today? Congratulations, Corey. Oh, yesterday.
Yeah, we got to talk on the phone for a while. It was pretty awesome. Got to
Oh,
pray
that's
with him
cool.
and everything.
Hey, Don. Haven't seen you in a bit.
Hey, Don, how are you doing?
Glad you're here. We got, hold on, Desmond. I love Desmond.
What's up, Des?
And we got Burnsing down the house.
Check out that channel.
Yep.
We got to have you guys on our channel one of these days to tell your story. That'd be cool.
Jolie, 30 days, y'all. Congratulations,
Oh,
Jolie.
Jolie, let me play a video for you since it's your 30 days, because this is what I do. I just do this stuff. 30 days is for you. Keep coming back. Good job. Proud of
There's
you.
Andrew.
Hey, Andrew, what's up, brother? Glad you're here. Glad you are
Hey,
here.
Freya. We just saw you over at Nicole's channel.
Hola. ¿Cómo
Glad you're
estás?
here. I'm curious. Let me know if you ever send that
What's up, baby?
proof mascara.
Oh, yeah, waterproof mascara.
Yeah, that's what it was. Hey, Chad.
What's up, Chad?
Chad, how you doing, brother?
What up, man? Soup loves it. We love you too. Love. Ethan! We saw that. I think that's everybody.
Is that
I think I said
who's the new
hello.
person again? I forgot her name.
Rahima.
Let us know about yourself. What's your sobriety date? Let us give us a little snapshot of your recovery and why you're interested in recovery.
Oh, and we got Todd.
What's
Welcome,
up, Todd? Welcome.
Bittersweet day.
What's so bittersweet about it, brother? Let us know.
Are you new here, Todd?
Let's
I
talk
don't
about it.
recognize you.
Let's talk
glad you're here.
about it.
I think Todd is too.
Pretty sure I sang it. Mark.
Oh, that's weird.
Burns in down the house.
Sunray in the chat?
Sunray. Yes.
I'm typing you a message right now, brother.
Oh, Mike said I don't have permissions in YouTube either, but I never tried clicking the thing.
Very strange. Very strange.
Hey, Uppy. Glad you're here.
Welcome, Uncle Uppy.
Just my brother from another mother.
Uncle Epi. All right, so since we're going to have Alicia on here, let's get into our content. And if you're new to this channel, this is what we do. We read through AA at the beginning of the channel. At the end of the AA, I always finish it off with Just for Today from NA, because I'm an advocate of both programs, and I go to both. And in between that, we have We talk to y'all. We go through education. We get our minds educated so that we can understand relapse, because relapse is like walking up a down escalator. And as soon as you stop moving up, that thing's going to take you down. If you're not on the road to recovery, you're on the road to relapse. And where is that point you switch from the road to recovery and the road to relapse? When is it that you stop moving forward and you start going down? That's when relapse happens. Up here in the mind, you start fantasizing again, you start looking, or your addictive thinking kicks in and it just drifts off. And sometimes we got to take our inventory. Every day we got to take our inventory. On this channel, we'll take our inventory periodically to give ourselves a check. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? If we're living in our character defects, more than likely you're on a road to relapse. If you're living in your character assets, your program is working, you're on that road to recovery. And that's what we want to learn, those tools to stop that process of relapse before alcohol and drug use kicks in because of relapse. Relapse starts in the mind until you talk yourself and those denial blinders come around your head, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you're waking up tomorrow in guilt and shame, telling on yourself, I relapsed again, dang it, darn it, and we don't want to do that. We want to get through those urges. We want to get through those tough times and win battles. And the more battles you win, the easier it gets.
This is from February 16th is my day. 135 days sober.
Yeah.
I just got out of treatment and went to my first AA meeting today.
Awesome. I'll let you know right now, you got out of treatment. Guess what? We just learned in this last book. So the last book, we just finished it yesterday. It's called Addictive Thinking. And we learned that as soon as you get out of treatment, recovery's just begun. And if you sit back and think it's time to relax, and obviously you didn't, you went to an AA meeting, so that's good. That's addictive thinking. And now is the time when life's going to get you. You know what I mean? Now you got to live life on life's terms. When I was in my IOP, I was there from 5:30 to 9 o'clock, 5 days a week, mandatory on the weekend, AA and NA meetings and internet check-ins, right? It was easy because I was at work or I was at IOP. I didn't have time to sit and ponder things. But when I got out of my IOP, I was back in the real world, life on life terms, frustrations, all that stuff. That's when you need to really up your game in recovery. And I'm proud of you. That's a good job, 135 days. So stick with us if you want to learn relapse prevention. And there's a huge community that's the foundation. Like I said, this channel is just a byproduct of an awesome community that is growing. We come together and learn, and then we have a private Facebook group and a Discord that we all connect in. And if we're struggling, we reach out to each other. And it follows the sun. We got people in the UK and in Australia that are very active in this Discord channel that we do, or the private Facebook group. Felice will throw those in the links.
Yes, I will.
And if it's the middle of the night and you're struggling, you can't get a hold of anybody locally, all the Americans are in bed, the Australians are just waking up and enjoying their day, and there's always people in there. And when the Australians are in bed and they're over there struggling, the Americans are, so it's just this 24-hour awesome community for just in case, us addicts, we need as many avenues as we can. We got Nicole at Real Talk. We got some other channels that are up and coming, Burns Down the House. And all this communities are building so that us addicts always have a place to go when we're struggling, because we recover better together. And the bigger our community, the better.
And welcome, Matt. And welcome, Jacqueline. And welcome,
Jacqueline.
5029 from Nicole's channel. Glad you guys come over.
Okay, I got to confess there. I eat 5029. I work on F-35s. Well, I did. I'm recently quitting. But you're 5029, that's like aircraft tail numbers. Yeah. They put numbers on the back of the jets. And that series is F-35s, just to let you know. Kind of cool.
We probably worked on 5029 before.
I'm pretty sure we've worked on that jet. Glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's get into our AA thought of the day. In following the AA program with its 12 steps, we have the advantage of a better understanding of our problems. Day after day, our sobriety results in the formation of new habits, normal habits. As each 24-hour period ends, we find that the business of staying sober is a much less trying and fearsome ordeal than it seemed at the beginning. So here's the question to ourselves. Do I find it easier as I go along? How many out there finding that the longer you're sober, the easier it is to stay sober and the better life is becoming? So here's our meditation of the day. Learn daily. Alicia, you can sign in anytime you want. Learn daily the lessons of trust, and calm in the midst of the storms of life. Learn daily lessons of trust and calm in the midst of the storms of life. Whatever of sorrow or difficulty the day may bring, God's command to you is the same. Be grateful, humble, calm, and loving to all people. Leave each soul, I love this part right here. Think about this. We just met, we got new people in here. We all are just now meeting new people, new faces today, right now, today. Tomorrow you may meet some new people. So take this. If you don't get nothing else out of this show tonight, take this with you. Leave each soul the better for having met you or heard you. When somebody leaves your presence and you just met them, leave that person better. That person's going to walk away a better person for having met you. For all kinds of people, this should be your attitude. A loving desire to help, an infectious spirit of calmness, and trust in God. You have the answers to loneliness and fear, which is calm, faith in the goodness and purpose of the universe. So here's our prayer of the day. I pray that I may be calm in the midst of a storm. I pray that I may pass on this calmness to others who are lonely and full of fear. I pray that as well.
I like that.
All right, I'm going to go through the introduction of this book real quick. It's 2 paragraphs, and then we're going to pull Alicia on, and she's going to tell us about her story and how she did it, because we all want to do the same thing. We all want that sobriety date.
Hi, Erin. My soon-to-be next-door neighbor and best friend.
So like I said, we go through books. The next one we're starting is called Addictive Personality, Understanding the Addictive Process and Compulsive Behavior. So this book is written to help its readers better understand the process of addiction and the development of an addictive personality. It seeks to broaden people's minds about the depth and dimension of one of the most widespread and costing illnesses facing us today. It is my intention to give the reader a better idea of addiction, understanding what people become addicted to and what happens inside the people who suffer from this illness. The term addiction has moved from having a very limited focus, being associated almost entirely with alcohol and other drugs, to a much broader definition. There are millions of addicts who have never used mood-altering chemicals in their rituals of getting high. Food addicts, addictive gamblers, sex addicts, shoplifters, workaholics, addictive spenders, and many other live lives of emotional isolation, shame, despair caused by their own brands of addiction. This book is dedicated to those who struggle to have their suffering understood and their addiction recognized. It is also written to help recovering addicts better monitor their identified addictions and prevent their transformation into other addictions. I think this is going to be a good one. Y'all are going to want to pick up a copy. If you do want a copy, there's links in the description. If not, you can learn it here. All right, so with all that being said and done,
Drum roll.
Drum roll, please.
Thanks, guys.
Let's bring on Alicia. Hey, Alicia.
Hi. How are you guys? It was good to see you on
Doing
Nicole's channel.
wonderful.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay.
I just had to turn you up a little bit.
All right.
Okay, so I was just going to let everybody know this is Alicia. She's a part of our community. She's been here from the very beginning, pretty much. And you can find her in the Discord. You can find her on the private Facebook group. Alicia is a strong person in this community, a very loving supporter of people in need. I've seen her reach out all the time. She got a heart of gold. So I'm going to let her just tell her story and tell us how she has accomplished 17 years of sobriety. Alicia, if you see the camera zoom in on only you, know that I'm controlling that. So nothing went wrong.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Letting me share. So let's see. So my experience was I used my big addiction was meth, but of course, in high school I smoked pot and did, drank and did all that stuff. And I really didn't get involved with meth until I was like 25. And my mom passed away. And so I really just, I just dove into meth. And in the beginning, I wasn't using I was using because I liked it. And then when my mom passed away, there was so many more responsibilities. I was trying to help my dad, and it just, I just thought it was everything. You know, I'm a mom. I have 3 children, and so I just wanted to, I had to keep up with helping my dad and helping, you know, take care of my kids. I worked a full-time job. And so of course I thought I was functioning, and I did for a while, and then I lost my job, and I just dove straight in, just feet first, head first, whatever. I was all in. And then my kids went, I didn't lose my kids, but I pretty much gave them away to their dad. And I have 2 older girls, and then I have a teenage daughter here at home. So my older girls, they went and lived with their dad, and I just would disappear, you know, and I never got in trouble. I never really understood that. I never really got in trouble, but I guess back up a little bit. I kind of had an in on how things worked. My dad was a federal agent, and my mom worked at South Salt Lake Police Department here in Utah. And so I knew everything. I grew up in law enforcement. My dad was an undercover agent, you know, for my whole life. And that was weird growing up. But anyways, so I knew what they were looking for. I knew what not to say and what to say. And so I wasn't one of those. I could get pulled over and walk away and have drugs all over in my car, on my person, everything. And I honestly, I don't even know how that happened, but I ended up, the only time I went to jail one time, and that was in a raid, and at a home that I was at. And so I just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. But that didn't stop me. I did a drug court probation thing, and they just said, if you don't get in trouble in the next 18 months, this will be, it won't show up on your record. I tried so hard. I mean, it was not lack of trying to get in trouble, but I never got caught again. And so there's nothing on my record, thank God. And that's what has helped me. So moving on, I got married. I was divorced and then got married in my using, and he ended up going to jail. And when he got out, I had stopped using for, I don't know, it was probably 12 months. And I just really thought, you know, this is it. You know, I got my shit back together. I had a really good job. I had everything ready for him to come home. 2 cars, you know, all he had to do was get out and get a job. And I think he was out for a couple weeks, and bam, I was right back in the middle of all kinds of stuff. It was just insane. So I ended up pregnant. And of course, again, that didn't stop me. I used the entire time I was pregnant. And we moved to go that geographical change where you move and you think things are going to get better. So we moved down to where his family was. And that was bad because they all use and drink and they're crazy. And so anyways, I got down there. I ended up telling my doctor that I was pregnant, and he said, I'm going to drug test you, and I will turn you in to the Child Protective Services if you test dirty, if you miss an appointment, if you're late for an appointment, you know, I'll turn you in. So that didn't even stop me. I continued using, and then I ended up going into labor and had the baby. And I don't know, she was probably about 2 or 3 months old, and he left. He just left me down there with his family. And they didn't really like me, and they were kind of mean to me, and I was kind of afraid to be down there. But I had to come back to Salt Lake. I found out that I was pregnant, and we had started using again, and I'd been drinking, and I'd been doing, whatever I could get a hold of down there. I didn't care. I just wanted to not be where I was. And so anyway, I found out that I was pregnant and had to come to Salt Lake. And so my plan was to get an abortion. And so I came up, and his sister brought me to Salt Lake, and I did what I needed to do so I could get that abortion. And you have to wait 24 hours. Well, she kicked me out of the car at a police station here in Salt Lake. And I ended up calling the drug dealer and got a ride. And at that point, I had a lot of time because, drug dealers don't have time. And I'll be right there 5 hours later. And again, here I was sitting next to a police station, high as a fucking kite. And, no one even asked if I needed anything. Oh, and I had my baby with me. So here I was on the streets with a baby in the summer, in the heat. And I just was like, what am I doing with my life? But I, continue. I ended up high again, went to my sister's, and she wasn't home. I slept, I ended up sleeping on the porch that night at her house. And I don't know, she must have been out of town. But I woke up, and I was just, all my thought was, I want to get a hotel room so I can call, so I can get high, so I can, keep doing what I'm doing and figure my life out. It wasn't about stopping using. But someone picked me up, some stranger, and, thank God. I thank him in my prayers every day for saving my life. I have no idea who this person was. He never gave me his name. But he said, you really look like you could use some help. Can I give you a ride? And then he asked if he could take me to the YWCA. And I said, sure, that'll be fine. At that point, I was just wanted to be done. But, I was still high as a kite. And so I went there, and they had me go stay. They didn't have any beds for me. I couldn't stay there. So I ended up going they have a thing here in Utah that helps you when you need help. Anyways, I went to that place. Anyway, it doesn't matter where it's from. But
Let me jump in real quick. I got to ask you a question. So your family's all pretty much law enforcement, right? And you're high as a kite, running around, kind of learn the tricks of their trade to sneak through the bushes. Did they recognize you being high and all that stuff?
They didn't talk to me. They just kind of like, if I push it under the rug, then I won't have to see it. Then I won't know what's happening.
Oh, okay. So they didn't really want to confront you because they didn't want to have that ruin their careers.
I think so. I honestly, I don't know, but it's crazy because I went to my family more than once. I went to my dad and told him, I need help. And I guess I'll just tell you, his answer was, I don't have any fucking money to help you. Wow. I wasn't asking for money. I was asking for help. Didn't know what to do. And that was when I was pregnant. And he's like, I don't have the money to send you to rehab. I don't know what you're going to do, but you need to stop using. And
this is the 90s probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is kind of towards the end of that.
The beginning of the 2000s, or no. Yeah. It was in the 90s. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so this is when the Reagan administration kind of still had that, the Nancy Reagan just say no, and they're arresting crime. Yeah. Anything was just okay. And that was their mindset then.
Yeah, and in Salt Lake, or I don't know if I only know Salt Lake, but because that's where I used. But there was that whole, you're a meth monster, and we kill people, and we home invade, and it doesn't matter. I mean, that's just if you use meth, then that's where you were categorized. You're going to come in and kill our family. I don't know. Anyways, that's, I think, what my family thought. And they just didn't want anything to do with me. They didn't help me at all. And well, I shouldn't say it all. We're getting to that. I'll get to that. So at that point, they put me up in a dope hotel on North Temple. And said, okay, you can stay. We've paid for a week for you to stay here. And and I was just grateful. I just wanted to be off the streets, and I just followed with, the guy said he wanted to help me, and I just followed through. At that point, I was exhausted coming down, and I just needed someone to tell me what to do, just God, let me sleep for a day. But I still had my baby, I still had her to take care of.
Oh, wow.
And so and I still had to get this abortion. So I get to the hotel and I called my sister and I said, I need your help. I don't know what to do. And at that point, and she was in that sister was in law enforcement also. She's a federal probation officer. And so at that point, I'm just like, I'm done. I don't know what to do. I need help. And she didn't ask any questions. She didn't say anything. She said, okay, I'll be there tomorrow to pick you up and take you to your appointment. And so she took me to my appointment and watched Kimmy, and I got my abortion and went back to Crack Hotel. And, the people that I used with were right next door. I knew everybody in that hotel. And I chose to not. I just locked myself in the room and didn't go outside because I knew they were all outside. And so she suggested that I go to, it was a place that was called Marillac House, and it was a homeless shelter for women with children in treatment. So before I could get in there, I had to find treatment and then call and let them know. And then they would see if they had a bed. And so I basically had to be sober to go there. So that helped out a little bit for me to stay sober. But at that point, and in the back of my mind, I wasn't done. I just wanted to get back to, I just need to look normal for a minute and get back on track. I've done this before. That's no big deal. I'll just do what I know and go back to what I like doing and do what I want to do. I look at it now and it was just insanity. But somewhere when I got to this homeless shelter and, it was just full of women, it was just women with children in treatment. And I started treatment in a mothers and children's program. And I, got one-on-one therapy, and it was an intensive outpatient program. And I was introduced to AA meetings. And so in the house, we had to, it wasn't a requirement to go to meetings, but the girls, all the girls liked to go to meetings. We'd just go together and ride the bus. And so anyways, and it started a foundation for me. And it just, I started looking at stuff. And then all of a sudden I wasn't thinking about using anymore. I just was, looking at my life and going to meetings. I found Crystal Meth Anonymous and got super involved. I mean, I just, at some point something clicked and I was done. I was just done. I didn't think about using anymore. I got help through the state. They paid for me to go back to school. And so I went back to school. I got super involved with Crystal Meth Anonymous. And I started, I think I started like 3 different meetings on different nights. And then, just meeting people in the rooms. I got involved with clean and sober softball. And that was just, it was just amazing. There were so many people that I was meeting. We started the league, and I think we had like 10 teams, and now there's 5 divisions and 10 teams in each division. And so on Friday nights, I still play softball every Friday night.
That's awesome. Let me jump into your story a little bit deeper real quick.
Uh-huh.
So you quit and you're going, something clicked, and you haven't relapsed you never relapsed once you decided to hit recovery, huh?
Yep.
Well, there's a testimony right there to people. 17 years with no relapse.
Not one.
Wow.
Not one. And I don't know. I guess by the grace of God, and I had been through so much shit in my using, but coming from the background that I had come from, you know, I knew what normal was, not normal, but I mean, I knew that what was expected of me in society, let's say that, you know, but like have a job. I mean, you know, my dad had an amazing career, and he was, you know, got all kinds of awards, and so did my mom, and they were hard workers. And, you know, it just, but I didn't want to tell my whole story. I just kind of wanted to tell a little bit and then talk about my sobriety, but there's a little more to that. My mom was a drug addict.
Oh.
And she worked at the police department. So I didn't know. I had no idea that my mom was addicted to pain pills. Obviously, she was a functioning addict at a police department for my whole life. I'm guessing, because I didn't get a chance to find out because she passed away. And and her passing away was I'm positive due to her pill addiction, because she had ulcers, and the pills that she would take would just eat her stomach. Back then it was Darvocet, Darvon, that had tons of aspirin in it, and it would just eat your stomach. And what happened to her was she actually, when I found out, I was 21, and she went to Highland Ridge. They were supposed to go on vacation, and I got a phone call, and she said, I won't be able to talk to you for a little bit. And she was very involved with my kids. She, you know, was the best grandma ever. I think she was making up for not being such a great mom. But she went to rehab. And so that's when I found out. She called from rehab and said, there's going to be a period of time I won't be able to talk to you. I'm going to rehab. And I was like, what? I didn't even have any idea. No idea ever. And I think it's because she used my whole life that was just normal. You know, it was normal for my mom to come home from work and sleep. She worked shift work. She worked, you know, so it was just, to me, it was just normal. And my dad's weird ass shit in his job was normal to me too. I mean, he worked undercover. We'd go by different names sometimes. Don't answer the phone sometimes. Don't, you know, this is who I am. If someone calls, just tell them I'm not here and take a message. And that's weird shit when you're growing up. You don't really understand what's happening. You just do what you're told, you know? So anyways, but so my mom ended up, she bled out and she was brain dead from an ulcer. From, I'm assuming, her taking pills. And they had said when they did they did a drug test, and they found that she'd had a lot of aspirin in her system. So she had to have taken more pills when she was home. But anyways, so yeah, that's, you know, that's kind of how that went. And then but I never relapsed. I think because I had gone, you know, that I did that 12 months without using. And, you know, that was just going to work and just, I don't know. I moved to Utah County. So I didn't know anybody, and I just didn't use. I'd go straight to work and straight home, straight to work and straight home. And as long as I just went straight to work and straight home, I wouldn't see anybody, and I wouldn't know anybody, and I wouldn't have any connections. And I didn't talk to anybody in Salt Lake. So I got that 12 months sober. But it just, again, like when I was at, this probably helps too. I was the longest residing resident at that homeless shelter.
Oh,
I was there for 16 months. And we were just waiting for my housing, and they didn't want to disrupt it. I was glad, because they didn't want to disrupt Kimmy and move me to sober living, and then move me to, you know, when I got housing, to another place. We just decided that I would just stay there until my housing came through, and then I found a place to live. So you know, again, I look back, and at that time I didn't have God in my life. I didn't even, I mean, of course, you know, that please get me out of this one. And I swear to God, you know, I'll do whatever. Just get me out of this one, God. You know, that was my God, whoever it was, whatever it was. It was just get me out of this one. And it always worked. I seemed to get out of it. But anyways, I when I started going to the rooms and stuff, and I just really, like I said, I just dove in. You know, when I do stuff, I'm all in. I'm still that way. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it the best that I can. But so when it clicked, I, you know, again, I just all of a sudden realized I didn't want to use anymore. And I just, you know, being at that house for so long, you know, I was sober, and I had sober friends, and I started school. I went back to school, and then I got an amazing job at the University of Utah in epilepsy. And so I worked with neurologists and neurosurgeons, and, you know, it just was amazing to me. They knew my history. I didn't hide it because I was, you know, fresh in. I was still, you know, under a year, and I was still on that pink cloud, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but I was still excited, and I didn't care. I wanted everyone to know. And I think that closed all those back doors. The more people I told, the more people I had to be accountable to. So, you know, I really think that that is what helped me, is I shared a lot. You know, I went to the meetings and I shared a lot, and I just took advantage of everything that I was given. You know, the help from the state, the help from everyone. And so I worked at the University of Utah for like 15 years. But so in 2015, I have a daughter that committed suicide and passed away.
Mm.
And that was I don't know, committed suicide, overdose. I don't know. She was addicted to pain pills, and, you know, we struggled with that, and she wanted to get help, sorta. And I was doing the best I could to help her, but, you know, I don't know. It's something that I work on all the time. But she overdosed on gabapentin. And so, yes, it can happen. People say you can't, but you take enough of anything, you can overdose. I don't know if she was trying to get high or if she wanted to die. I honestly, I'll never know that. But so she passed away in 2015, and I pretty much checked out of life. I could barely look at myself. You know, I hated myself. I blamed myself. Why didn't I do more? I'm in recovery. How could I have not helped my own daughter with all the people that I know and all the people in my life? And I just felt horrible. I blamed myself for many years. And it honestly was not until October of 2019, my granddaughter, her daughter, my daughter's daughter. Here's a picture of my daughter.
Beautiful.
And she has 3 kids, and her littlest started having seizures. And again, you know, it's a thing that now that I found God, you know, that's my higher power. And I think, you know, I know that everything happens for a reason. I ended up in epilepsy, and my granddaughter ended up having a tumor and had a tumor removed in October. And so I sat in that hospital every day. You know, I did have to work some days, but I work at a hospital. So I would go to work, be at a hospital, leave, go to primaries to the children's hospital. And, you know, luckily I knew the surgeon. I personally knew the surgeon. I personally knew her doctors. I'd worked with them for so many years. And so, you know, I knew what was happening, but even knowing is scary. And so she had surgery and she came out paralyzed, which I knew was going to happen. And she just had to do a lot of physical therapy and occupational therapy. And she ran out of the hospital, literally ran out of the hospital after a month, a little over a month. And actually she had 2 brain surgeries, not just one. But they did remove the tumor and she hasn't had a seizure since. So yay. Thank you, God. But while I was sitting there, I started looking at my life because I had a lot of time, you know, and staring at my granddaughter and realized that I haven't been living. I hadn't been living my life since my daughter passed away. I just went to work. I had 2 jobs. And I just took, and I have this teenage daughter at home now. And, you know, I had to take care of her. And, you know, we were both not, you know, she did really good and she didn't want to go to therapy over it. She didn't like therapy. She tried to talk to someone about it, but, you know, she's still angry about my daughter committing suicide, but, you know, we're working through that. But I just was like, I can't do this. She's 17 and she's going to be out of the house and I'm by myself. And I hate myself. What am I doing? You know, nobody's knocking at my door to change me. Why isn't this working? You know, I'm praying for something. I don't know. I can't live like this. I guess I thought someone was just going to knock at my door and my life was going to be back to the way it was. And I was just going to be happy. And I'm like, this shit's not right. And so in my time sitting at home is where I found LT in my addiction to TikTok.
That's awesome.
And for
yes, I'm on
reason,
TikTok. It's embarrassing to say, but yes, I'm on TikTok.
I know, right? Anyways, but you know, I know that there's people in recovery, and I would make a comment, you know, and I think LT made a comment that he had 6 months sober, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, blah, blah, blah. And I have no idea where LT was or who he was or anything. And so I made a comment, then he commented back, and somehow we talked about this YouTube channel. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I'll be there. And him and I figured out how to get me on there. And I'm technically challenged, but we did it. And I got onto LT's YouTube channel and here I am. And I feel like I'm just kind of back to my normal self, back in my sobriety community where I'm the happiest, you know. And one more horrible thing that happened to me in November, my dad passed away. And so, that, I don't know, that I'm sad, you know, but it's okay. He was sick and who knows, he probably could have had COVID. I don't know. He died of lung shit. So who knows anyways, but my dad passed away in November. So, you know, I've had a lot of, and this really isn't in depth and all of my story, but you know, a lot of it. And there's been a lot more horrible things happen to me in my sobriety than has ever happened when I was using. And I've managed to not pick up and use, not pick up and drink, not, you know, I mean, it's not a part of my life anymore. And I don't want it to be. And maybe that's because I made a promise when I got sober to my daughter that passed away. I had to build those relationships back up. And my oldest daughter, we still are very, very strained, to say the least. You know, we talk, but this is the first year. I mean, but things are coming around. This is the first year of 2020 that she actually called me on Mother's Day and acknowledged I was her mom. So, I mean, it takes time to build those relationships. And, you know, obviously it took her many years and we're just working on it now. But, you know, you can't expect that stuff overnight. And I beat myself up about that too, you know, but I've stayed sober because I've stayed connected with AA, CMA, NA, NEA, whatever A. And I've done service work and, you know, stayed around sober people. And if you're not sober, I'm here for you when you're done. But, you know, I even got married in recovery and divorced, because my husband at that time was, he was in recovery and he was addicted to meth too. And he started using again. But thank God, thank God again, you know, I know that there's a God. He never brought it home. He would just leave for, you know, a week or so, drain the bank account. And then when the money was gone, he'd come back. And I stayed as long as I could stay. You know, I sometimes I look at you and Felice, and I sometimes I feel bad that I didn't try to make it work. But it's like, I can only take so much, and I can't have that around me. I have to look at my own sobriety, you know, and I think, gosh, you know, but we did rehab centers. We, you know, did marriage counseling. We did all kinds of stuff. And he'd say, I'm not going to use anymore. And, you know, I'm not going to tell his story, but there's a lot more to that. But I just was done. And so we got divorced. And, but again, you know, I didn't have to pick up and use over that stuff. I talked to my sponsor. I've worked my steps numerous times. I'm actually working my steps right now. I'm on step 4. And this is my 4th time, I think, I've done my steps. And, you know, the first time I've had 2 amazing sponsors. And with that, you know, I sponsor people. I'm available to sponsor people. But you have to want it, and you have to be willing to go to any lengths. And I was willing. And my first sponsor made me do my 4th step at least 3 times. And she's like, you're not being thorough. And I'm like, how do you know? I am being thorough. And she's like, no, you're not. Go back and think about it again. And I'd go back and I'd think about it, and I'd have another 4 or 5 pages of bullshit, you know, mad at the dog, mad at the world. I had resentments on everyone, you know, at that point. But she had me puke all that shit out, and I was in therapy at the same time, and I never looked back. The moment that I forgave myself, I didn't have to look back. The first time I did my steps.
Nice.
And I, you know, I was like, I did the best I could, and I made the best decisions that I could make, being as high as a fucking kite, you know, and I'm not saying they were good. I'm saying they were the best decisions I could make where I was in the situation I was in. But, you know, I'm here, and I have 17 years, and it's doable. It's not easy. And you're going to go through shit. To the newcomers, you're going to go through shit. Your life is definitely not going to be easy. But today, my life is wonderful. I have an amazing job. I went back to school not once, but twice. And, you know, I have amazing doctors that I work with that respect me and listen to me. And that still, sometimes I'll sit there and it'll blow my mind. You know, I'll be thinking, did you know that I used to eat out of dumpsters? I was fucking homeless. I belonged to a gang, or I ran around with gang members, and you're asking me for what you think you should do with this patient? Wow. I don't know. Maybe you should think about who you're asking your questions to. But I knew, I mean, I was able to, you know, we were able to talk through it and work it out and help the patients. I mean, it's just, it's amazing, you know, that they have enough trust in me. I never thought anyone would trust me, you know, and especially my family, you know. I'm really close now to my sister, and one sister is, I can't be around her. She makes me want to drink and use to this day. But I just can only take her in small increments. But the sister that helped me, I mean, for me, we're close as we're going to get, you know. We don't see each other all the time, but I did text her today, because I don't think I ever thanked her. I don't think I ever told her how much I appreciated her actually answering the phone and coming and picking me up and taking me and helping me find the resources that I needed. And so she's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. What's up?" She's like, "Are you, I think you sent this message to the wrong person." Because I just said, "I love you. And I wanted to say thank you so much." And so that's what I got. She's like, "Are you okay?" So I'm pretty sure she thought I was high again. Or that I sent the message to the wrong person. But I said, "No, I don't think I ever thanked you for what you did." And she's like, she just said, "I appreciate that, but you don't need to thank me. You did the hard work." So anyways, but that's a little of my story, and that's how I've done it. And I know that it can be done if you want it. Relapse is not a part of my recovery. I understand that it's a part of some people's recovery. It doesn't have to be, but I understand that it is. And, you know, but you don't have to relapse. It doesn't have to be a part of your story.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. 17 years, no relapse, because our counselor always tells us that you don't have to relapse. I did, of course. I took 3. I didn't go off the deep end, but you know my story.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to happen, and you're proof of that. And that's inspirational to everybody right there.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, do you want to watch Cassie's little clip of the day with us real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's Cassie's quote of the day, y'all.
Good evening, my recovering addict family. I'm here tonight with your motivational quote on recovering addicts. The one thing that will make you happy is being happy with who you are. Goldie Hawn.
Ooh la la.
And as always, you guys know what to do. Let's bring it together and continue to spread that love.
Absolutely.
That is exactly, that's perfect for what I was saying. You know, what I did at the beginning, you know, pretty much the beginning of this year is I decided that I needed to love myself again, and I needed to be happy with who I was and accept myself for who I was and forgive myself again. You know, that it's not things that happen in life. That's just what's supposed to happen.
Absolutely. And what we learned in that book is we're out of the gate as kids. Addicts have a tendency to have low self-esteem, and we take that and ruin ourselves with it, with addiction. And then once we come out of it into recovery, start loving ourselves again, it seems like us addicts can just succeed to, just like what you just said. They're asking your advice now, you know? That's awesome. Well, awesome. Is there anything else you want to leave with us tonight, or?
Thanks, you guys, for being a part of my recovery. I appreciate it. I love this community so much, and I couldn't do it without you guys.
Amen. I love having you here too. I love it when I see a comment hit in our Discord or the Facebook group and they're hurting, and all of a sudden, boom, you come in with some awesome. I love it. So thank you very much for being a part of our community too. Go ahead.
And I'll see you guys Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. We'll be here.
Raina said no.
Yeah.
I know. We tried to talk her into it.
She said my doctor said I can't.
So here's the deal. I don't know what time you want to come. I've been telling everybody about 3:30-ish. But we have our Zoom meeting at 3 that I'm still going to have. So if you want to get here right at 3, I know my buddy Rob's going to be here, and we can just all Zoom together.
All right. Cool.
It's up to you.
All right.
All right. We'll see you Saturday.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Wow. Inspirational, huh? 17 years. One day we'll all be there. Anything stand out to you all? How are you inspired to stay sober today? Because she lived life on life's terms, and had some hard times and stayed sober. So it's possible to go through this life with the traumas that we still experience and not go back to using. And we just heard a perfect example of it tonight. I love it. Let's see what our NA thought of the day, or actually it's called Just for Today. It's a simple program. The program is simply sharing. Working the 12 steps, attending meetings, and practicing the principles of the program. Our complicated lives can be made a lot less complicated if we concentrate on a few simple things: sharing our experience, strength, and hope with others, regular meeting attendance, and practicing the principles of the program in our daily lives. By sharing our experience, strength, and hope with other addicts, we provide a powerful example for newcomers to follow. The effort we put into helping others also helps keep self-centeredness, the core of our disease, at bay. Many of us pick a program, a home group, whose meetings we attend faithfully. This regularly gives some routine to our lives and lets others know where they can find us if they need us. Practicing the 12 steps in our daily lives makes the difference between a balanced recovery and simply not using. The steps give us some much needed guidance in managing our everyday affairs. Yes, we are complex people, but the NA program simplifies our lives, enabling us to live a life free from active addiction. Our lives can be fulfilled with serenity and hope when we live by the guidance of this simple principle of our program. So just for today, I will remember that while I am a complex person, NA is the simplest way for me to take my life less complicated. I love how every time we read Just for Today, it fits. She just did exactly what the Just for Today told us we should do. She lives the program, she shared her story, and we've all been inspired to stay sober. And look at that. The time is another hour that we spent together as a community because we recover better together, and we're all still sober.
Yeah. Hey, we can see you now, Krista.
There she is. It's been a crazy the last few months to find recovery groups. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Krista. That's what we're here for. And that's why we've been going live every night, because the world right now is insane. They shut it all down because of COVID, so we decided to go live every single night 107 days ago. We've been going, and we don't plan on stopping going live every night until the world gets back to normal. So if that ever even happens.
Never.
I doubt it will. But before y'all go, please do smash that like button like everybody was saying. And we'll say our serenity prayer real quick. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And God, thank you so much for Alicia and her story. Please let that inspire somebody to stay sober the next months to come. And remember that we all struggle together, and we pray this in your name.
Jesus,
Amen.
another thing, dear Lord, our love for all the addicts to take another 24, dear Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Winky. All right, y'all. We will be back tomorrow with Chapter 1 of Addictive Personality. We're going to hit this book hardcore, Chapter 1. I got more free time, so I'm going to study a little more in depth, too, on these things. Addictive Personality, if you want to pick yourself one up, there's a link in the description. Until then, do not put yourself in a high-risk situation. Stay strong, work your programs, and remember, we recover better together.
Oh, my stomach hurts.